There will come a moment in your life when the pressure is unbearable, when things aren't going as planned, when people test your patience, and when your emotions scream at you to react. In those moments, most people crack. They lash out, they panic, they make impulsive decisions they later regret, but the strongest, the most disciplined, the most effective people in the world, those who lead, inspire, and succeed, have mastered one skill: controlling their emotions and thinking clearly under pressure. Pressure doesn't change you, it reveals you. When the weight of expectations, challenges, and uncertainty bears down on you, who you truly are comes to the surface. It's easy to appear confident when everything is going well. It's easy to be patient when no one is testing you. It's easy to feel in control when there's no real challenge in front of you. But the moment pressure enters the equation, all illusions are stripped away. Think about it. How often have you seen people handle stress poorly? Maybe it was a leader who lost their temper in a crisis, a teammate who crumbled under pressure, or even yourself, reacting in a way you later regretted. In those moments, it wasn't the situation that made them that way. It was the situation that revealed what was already inside them. Pressure is the ultimate truth teller. It doesn't create weakness, it exposes it. And that's why the most important thing you can do is pay attention to how you respond when things get difficult. If your first instinct under pressure is to panic, that's an opportunity for growth. If your immediate reaction is anger or frustration, that's a sign of where you need to improve. If you shut down, avoid the problem, or react impulsively, that's not the situation forcing you to be that way. It's a reflection of who you currently are. But here's the good news. Just because pressure reveals who you are today doesn't mean you can't change who you become tomorrow. Look at the greatest leaders, the most respected individuals, and the most successful people in any field. They all have one thing in common. They have trained themselves to remain calm, composed, and clear-headed under pressure. They weren't born that way. They weren't magically gifted with the ability to handle stress better than others. They built it through self-awareness, discipline, and constant practice. The key is understanding that pressure is a test. And just like any test, you can prepare for it. You can develop the ability to stay composed. You can train yourself to slow down, think clearly, and respond with intention instead of emotion. But the only way to do that is to first acknowledge where you are. Start paying attention to your emotional triggers. What situations make you feel overwhelmed? What kind of pressure causes you to react instead of respond? Is it tight deadlines, difficult conversations, unexpected problems? Once you know what gets to you, you can start working on it. A great exercise is to put yourself in controlled moments of pressure regularly. Push yourself outside your comfort zone. If you avoid difficult situations, you'll never get better at handling them. Seek out challenges that force you to stay composed. Whether it's public speaking, physical endurance, or high-stakes decision-making, the more you expose yourself to pressure in small ways, the more prepared you'll be when the big moments come. Another important step is shifting your mindset. Most people see pressure as something to fear, something negative. But what if you started seeing it as a privilege? Pressure means you're in a position that matters. It means you have an opportunity to grow. It means people trust you with responsibility. The best performers don't wish for less pressure, they train to handle more of it. And finally, remember that how you handle pressure doesn't just impact you, it affects everyone around you. If you're a leader, your team looks to you in tough moments. If you're a parent, your children learn from how you react. If you're part of a group, your ability to stay calm influences the entire dynamic. You are either someone who brings clarity in chaos or someone who adds to the confusion. So the next time pressure hits, stop for a moment. Recognize that this is your test, this is your moment to show who you really are. And if you don't like the answer, use it as fuel to become better, because pressure doesn't make you, it reveals you. And the choice of who you become is yours. In moments of stress, frustration, or high stakes, your natural instinct is to react immediately. The problem is that reactions are often driven by emotion, not logic. A quick, unfiltered response can lead to regret, conflict, or even failure. But there is a powerful tool that can change everything: the pause. Pausing before you react is the difference between saying something you'll regret and choosing words that build trust. It's the difference between making a rash decision in the heat of the moment and making a smart decision that serves you in the long run. It's the difference between losing control and staying composed. Most people don't pause, they let their emotions dictate their actions. They fire back in an argument, they lash out when frustrated, they make impulsive choices just to relieve the pressure they feel in the moment, and later, when things calm down, they see the damage their reaction caused. They wish they had handled it differently. They realize they let the moment control them instead of taking control of the moment. But here's the truth: you always have the power to pause. No matter how intense a situation feels, no matter how much someone provokes you, no matter how urgent a problem appears, there is always a moment, however small, where you can stop, breathe, and choose your response. And that single moment of restraint can change everything. Think about a time when you reacted too quickly and regretted it. Maybe it was an argument where you said something hurtful. Maybe it was a business decision made out of panic instead of strategy. Maybe it was a simple moment of frustration where you let your emotions take over. Now imagine if you had just paused. Imagine if you had given yourself a few extra seconds to think, to calm down, to see the bigger picture. Would your response have been different? Would the outcome have been better? Pausing gives you control. It allows you to separate emotion from action. It gives your brain time to process what's really happening instead of being hijacked by stress or anger. It helps you shift from reacting instinctively to responding intelligently. And the more you practice it, the stronger your self-control becomes. So how do you build the habit of pausing? First, recognize your emotional triggers. Pay attention to the moments that make you feel pressured, defensive, or overwhelmed. Is it criticism? Tight deadlines? Confrontation? The more aware you are of what pushes your buttons, the easier it will be to catch yourself before you react. Second, use physical cues to slow yourself down. When you feel your heart rate increasing, when your muscles tense, when your voice wants to rise, these are signs that you need to pause. Take a deep breath. Count to 3. Shift your focus from reacting to observing. The physical act of slowing down signals to your brain that you are in control. Third, ask yourself one simple question. What's the best response for the long term? Not the most satisfying response in the moment, not the easiest response, but the one that will serve you best in the future. When you think long term, you make better decisions. And finally, remember that pausing is not weakness, it's not hesitation, it's not backing down. It's a deliberate strategic move that puts you in charge. The strongest people in the world, leaders, negotiators, elite performers, don't react impulsively. They pause, assess, and respond with intention. Everyday life will present you with moments where you have a choice. React emotionally or pause and take control. The more you master the pause, the more power you gain over your emotions, your decisions, and your future. Because in that brief moment between impulse and action lies the difference between regret and wisdom. The way you see a situation determines how you respond to it. Most people believe that stress, pressure, and challenges are problems to avoid, but what if they weren't? What if the very thing you see as a struggle is actually an opportunity? What if the obstacle isn't blocking your path? It is the path. Reframing the situation is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. It means shifting your perspective, changing the way you interpret events, and finding meaning in the struggle instead of being consumed by it. The best performers, leaders, and thinkers don't experience less stress than others. They just see it differently. Instead of thinking this is too hard, they think this is making me stronger. Instead of saying, I'm nervous, they say, I'm excited. Instead of seeing a setback as failure, they see it as a lesson. Imagine two people facing the same challenge. One sees it as a roadblock, gets frustrated and gives up. The other sees it as a test of resilience, a chance to grow and keeps pushing forward. Same situation, different mindset, completely different outcome. The difference isn't in what happens, it's in how it's perceived. Your brain responds to what you tell it. If you frame a situation as overwhelming, your body reacts with stress, panic, and fear. But if you tell yourself, this is a challenge I can handle, your mind finds ways to adapt, problem solve, and push through. Reframing isn't about ignoring reality or pretending things are easy. It's about choosing the most effective way to interpret what's happening. One of the best ways to reframe a situation is to ask better questions. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of thinking this is unfair, ask, how can I use this to my advantage? Instead of seeing stress as something negative, recognize that it's a sign that you're growing, that you're in a position that matters, that you have an opportunity to rise to the occasion. Think about the times in your life when you've faced adversity. Maybe it was a failure, a personal setback, or a time when nothing seemed to go right. In that moment, it probably felt like a disaster. But looking back, wasn't there something valuable in that experience? Didn't it teach you something, make you stronger, or lead to a better opportunity? The problem is that most people don't recognize this while they're going through it. They only see it in hindsight. But what if you could reframe situations in the moment instead of waiting years to appreciate them? That's the power of shifting your perspective. Reframing also applies to everyday stress. Many people say, I have to give a presentation today, as if it's a burden. But what if you said, I get to give a presentation today? That small change in language shifts your focus from stress to gratitude, from pressure to opportunity. The words you use shape your mindset, and your mindset shapes your results. The truth is, every difficult situation contains two things, a challenge and an opportunity. Most people only see the challenge, but if you train yourself to find the opportunity, you'll handle pressure better, make smarter decisions, and stay in control of your emotions. You don't always control what happens to you, but you always control how you see it. Reframe the situation and you reframe your life. When stress, pressure, or fear takes over, your mind can feel like a storm racing, thoughts, heightened emotions, and an overwhelming sense of urgency. In those moments, it's easy to believe that your thinking is out of your control. But what if the key to regaining control wasn't in your thoughts at all? What if it was in your breath? Most people underestimate the power of their breathing. It's automatic, something we do thousands of times a day without thinking, but what many don't realize is that the way you breathe directly affects the way you think, feel, and react. When you're stressed, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid. This signals to your brain that something is wrong, triggering a fight or flight response. Your heart races, your muscles tense, and your ability to think clearly disappears. Suddenly, small problems feel massive, and logical thinking is replaced by emotional reaction. But here's the secret. Just as stress changes your breathing, you can change your breathing to control stress. By slowing down your breath, you send a different message to your brain. You tell it that you are in control, that there is no immediate danger, that it's time to shift from panic to clarity. Your heart rate slows, your muscles relax, and your thoughts become sharper. This is why elite performers, athletes, military personnel, surgeons train themselves to master their breathing. They know that in high-pressure situations, emotions and panic can cloud judgment, but by controlling their breath, they control their mind. They stay calm when others crumble. They think clearly when others freeze. The good news is that you don't need to be in life or death situations to use this skill. You can apply it to everyday stress, before a big meeting, during an argument, when facing uncertainty, or anytime you feel overwhelmed. The technique is simple. Slow, deep breaths in through the nose, hold for a moment, and then exhale longer than you inhale. This small shift in breathing resets your nervous system and restores your ability to think with clarity. But why does this work? Because breathing is one of the only bodily functions that is both automatic and controllable. Your heartbeat, digestion, and reflexes all happen without conscious effort. But breathing is different. You can let it happen naturally, or you can take control of it. And when you take control of your breath, you take control of your emotions, your reactions, and your ability to make smart decisions under pressure. Think about the last time you were truly overwhelmed. How was your breathing? Most likely it was fast, shallow, or even held completely. Now imagine if in that moment you had taken a few deep, intentional breaths instead. Would your response have been different? Would you have been calmer, more rational, more in control? Training yourself to use your breath as a tool takes practice. But the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. The next time you feel tension building, stop and focus on your breath. Slow it down. Make each inhale deep and each exhale controlled. Within seconds, you will feel the shift, not just physically, but mentally. In a world full of distractions, pressures, and constant demands, the ability to stay clear-headed is a superpower. And the secret to that superpower is already within you. Your breathing controls your thinking. Master it, and you master yourself. When emotions run high, logic runs low. In moments of pressure, frustration, or uncertainty, most people let their emotions take over. They react impulsively, say things they don't mean, make choices they later regret, and lose sight of what really matters. But the strongest, most disciplined, and most successful individuals do something different. They detach from emotion and focus on the outcome. Detachment does not mean ignoring emotions or pretending they don't exist. It means recognizing when emotions are clouding your judgment and choosing to rise above them. It means stepping back, creating space between how you feel in the moment and what you need to do for the long term. When you let emotion dictate your decisions, you become reactive rather than strategic. You allow temporary feelings, anger, frustration, fear, to shape permanent consequences. But when you focus on the outcome, you act with intention rather than impulse. Think about the last time you were in a heated argument. Maybe someone insulted you, misunderstood you, or made you feel disrespected. In that moment, your instinct was probably to fire back, to defend yourself, to prove a point. But what was the outcome of that reaction? Did it actually solve the problem, or did it make things worse? Now imagine if instead of reacting emotionally, you had paused and asked yourself, what do I really want to achieve here? Would your response have been different? The ability to detach is a skill, and like any skill, it must be trained. The first step is self-awareness. When you feel emotions rising, whether it's anger, frustration, anxiety, or fear, recognize that this is a moment of choice. You can let the emotion control you, or you can take control of the emotion. One simple technique is to label the feeling. Instead of saying, I am angry, say, I feel anger. This small shift creates distance. It reminds you that emotions are temporary states, not permanent conditions. You are not your emotions, you experience emotions, and that means you can manage them. The second step is shifting your focus. Ask yourself, what is the bigger picture here? What is the smartest move for my long-term success? Great leaders, top athletes, and high performers don't make decisions based on how they feel in the moment. They make decisions based on what will get them the best result. If responding with anger helps the outcome, they use it. If staying calm and strategic is the better approach, they choose that. They don't let temporary emotions pull them away from their ultimate goal. Think of a poker player sitting at a table. They might lose a big hand, feel frustration building, and want to act on impulse. But a professional knows that reacting emotionally will only hurt their long-term success. So they take a breath, reset their focus, and play the next hand with a clear mind. Life works the same way. Every situation is another hand being dealt. Your job is to play it wisely, not emotionally. The third step in detaching is practicing patience. Most bad decisions come from rushing, from feeling the need to react instantly. But when you slow down, take a step back, and let the initial wave of emotion settle, your thinking becomes clearer. Before making a big decision, sending a heated message, or saying something you might regret, give yourself time. What feels like an emergency in the moment often isn't. Clarity comes in the pause. Finally, remind yourself of this. The person who stays calm in chaos is always the one with the most power. When others get emotional, they lose control. But when you stay focused on the outcome, you remain in charge. Detaching from emotion is not about being cold or unfeeling. It's about making sure your emotions serve you rather than sabotage you. So the next time you feel emotions rising, take a step back, breathe. Shift your focus from how you feel to what you want to achieve. Because in the end, success isn't about reacting, it's about responding with purpose. When pressure hits, when stakes are high, and when the unexpected happens, most people rely on hope. They hope they'll stay calm, they hope they'll make the right decision, they hope they'll perform at their best. But hope is not a strategy. If you wait until the moment arrives to figure out how to handle it, you're already too late. The people who excel under pressure, the ones who make clear decisions in chaos, aren't lucky. They are prepared. They have trained for the moment before it comes. Think about the most disciplined professionals in the world. Elite athletes, military special forces, world-class leaders. They don't just show up and hope they'll perform well. They train relentlessly for every possible scenario. They put themselves under stress before the real test arrives. They rehearse difficult conversations before they need to have them. They practice making decisions under pressure so that when the moment comes, they don't have to think. They just execute. If you wait until a high-stakes moment to learn how to stay calm, you'll crumble. If you wait until a conflict arises to learn how to respond with composure, you'll react emotionally. If you wait until an opportunity appears to develop confidence, you'll hesitate. Training yourself in advance is what separates those who succeed from those who struggle. So how do you train for pressure before it happens? The first step is self-awareness. Identify the moments that challenge you the most. Do you struggle with confrontation? Do you panic when making big decisions? Do you get overwhelmed under tight deadlines? You need to know your weaknesses before you can strengthen them. The second step is controlled exposure. The only way to get better at handling difficult situations is to put yourself in them on purpose. If public speaking makes you nervous, practice speaking in front of small groups before you're thrown into a big stage. If you struggle with handling criticism, seek feedback regularly so you get used to it. If making tough decisions paralyzes you, start making small, quick decisions every day to build that muscle. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. The more you expose yourself to stress in a controlled way, the more prepared you'll be when real pressure arrives. The third step is mental rehearsal. Top performers don't just train physically, they train their mind. They visualize high-pressure situations before they happen. They see themselves handling problems with confidence, responding with clarity, staying composed when others panic. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real experience and vividly imagined experience. If you repeatedly picture yourself handling stress well, your mind will default to that behavior when the moment arrives. The fourth step is building recovery habits. Training for pressure doesn't just mean preparing for stress, it also means knowing how to recover from it. The best performers don't let stress accumulate. They have routines, meditation, breathing exercises, workouts, journaling that keep them clear-headed. If you don't train yourself to reset after stressful situations, pressure will wear you down over time. The final step is embracing failure as training. Too many people avoid difficult situations because they fear making mistakes. But failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of it. Every high-pressure moment, whether you handle it well or poorly, is a lesson. If you review what worked and what didn't, every experience makes you stronger for the next one. The goal isn't to be perfect, the goal is to train so well that mistakes become fewer and learning becomes constant. Pressure is inevitable, stressful situations will come. The question is, will you be ready? The difference between those who break under pressure and those who thrive under it isn't talent, it's preparation. Train for the moment before it comes, and when it does, you won't need to rely on hope. You'll already know exactly what to do.